Okay, so this morning let's talk a little bit about business. If you want to enter the media field in New York City or the United States, and how much money you'll likely make. This is all going to be anecdotal. Of course, you can go to Glassdoor and poke around there, but let me give you the ballpark figures from everybody I know in New York City, working at every media company you can imagine. Well, first, it depends on the kind of like company you work at. A lot of the modern digital media companies are venture-backed companies, and they suffer from a little bit of American foreign policy in that they don't have an exit strategy half the time. And so we may be entering a kind of end of bubble era here in digital media, as you've seen layoffs in BuzzFeed and Verizon and Vice, and I mean I'm pretty sure Mike just went belly up and sold to Bustle. So if you're entering traditional like digital media and not wanting to work on the ad side or the branded content side or working in paid media, let's say you get a job at one of these digital media companies, either like Group 9, which is the Dodo, Now This News, Now This all those things, the Thrillist, right? They own all that. BuzzFeed, Vice, Fox, Bustle, Quartz, Axios. So the starting salaries there are going to be around, if you're a writer, probably around mid 40,000s to mid 50,000s. Now, often, if you've just come out of school, you're going to be taking internships, and those can vary wildly. Some companies like to trade on their name and pay you less. Others are willing to pay you more. If you take a Bloomberg internship, they're going to pay you pretty well. If you take an internship at like BuzzFeed, they're going to pay you $15 an hour, $17 an hour. Whereas some media companies altogether don't do away with the internship process and do more of like a contracted approach. They do like 1-year contracts to kind of try you out, and you actually make more money that way. You'll get paid, $20, $25 an hour, and you'll get like overtime, etc. So that's the kind of like entry level. Whether you're going to be a writer, reporter, video producers, you're probably going to make right around the same amount of money. Whether that's your producer or an editor, you're going to make right around that mid 40 to mid 50,000 salary starting out. That's if and that's usually you're going to have to come up through like an internship most of the time. You're not going to be able to just get a job right out the gate. It's going to be an internship, and then after that internship, you'll probably apply to a different media company and land a junior role there. And that's where you'll get the salary. But before that, you'll work 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on how the internships are structured at, an hourly wage. Animators coming out of the gate generally will get paid a bit more. We're talking, let's say, mid 50s to mid 60. Now, that being said, it also depends how early you get in at a company and that company's success. So, like, I know some reporters at these digital media companies, these venture-backed digital media companies that make 6 figures. Like, we're talking $120,000 a year. They got in early. They rose as the company rose. Whereas, somebody coming into that company now, even if they're, a Yale graduate, they might only make $56,000 a year. So, it kind of depends a lot on timing and like when you latch on to, especially digital media companies. Now, if you're going to work for a more established media company, like the kind of legacy media, like ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS, you might be able to get paid a bit more. Their salaries are a bit higher. We're talking like, for a standard writer or producer, we're talking right around $60K. that's where you'll be starting out at. Now, it's going to take you a long time to move up in that area. You're going to get sloshed there in the 60, and then you get a raise 62, 65, 68. You're going to battle your way up over the years if that's the route you want to do, as like just a standard writer, reporter, or video producer, or a social curator in one of these jobs. So you get paid a little bit more at these legacy media companies than you will at the digital media companies for the most case. That's not to say, like, there's a catch in the sense that, like, you may make more money slightly off the bat going to work for a legacy media company, but if you hitch your wagon to a digital media company and happens to do well, you might end up being able to negotiate more aggressive raises in that time. Let's say a 3-year time. Let's say, one person goes to work for CBS and gets paid $60,000 right off the bat, but 3 years later they're making $68,000. Whereas somebody else went to go work for Vice right off the bat, and they started at 45. They were $15,000 under the person that started at CBS. But over those 3 years, Vice really did well, and they were able to negotiate, like, hey, I was like a really prominent writer early on. I did these great articles. I did these great videos. Like, I want more money. I want more money. I want more money. And you can climb more rapidly. There's more opportunity for change. So it's a risk-reward ratio in any of these situations. But yeah, like, I would say the median is, most people in media do not make that much money. Your standard, like, nurse in New York City is going to be making more money than your average media person, whether it be a video person or a writer or a curator or anything they do in media. That being said, over time, the best approach if you want to make more money, especially in media, is, you're not gonna make more money buying it out at one company. The classic thing to do in media is to hop, and you see this all the time. It's very common. People hop around all the time because that's how you negotiate more money. Really, at the end of the day, is switching companies, and that'll be your raises. Because when you stay with one company, they'll tack at 2%, 3%, or whatever it may be of that initial amount you came in at. So, in summary, what are we talking? If you're looking to start working media and moving to New York City, we're talking, for most people, $45,000 to $55,000. If you have special skills like an animator, $55,000 to $65,000. If you decide to work for a legacy company, maybe CNN, maybe like just a classic producer there, you might start off the bat at like $60,000, but you might be behind the scenes working on a TV show, versus a producer at a digital media company like Group 9. Now this might start much lower at like $45,000 or $50,000, but may have an opportunity to like shoot and edit and do their own videos. So often there comes a degree of freedom with the lower paying jobs that you don't get so much in the higher paying jobs, but that's also because, the higher paying jobs are legacy companies. They have a way of doing things. That being said, it also, the media market's kind of a little oversaturated at the moment, and there's a lot of people now with a lot of experience already vying for jobs, so that might depress the wages even more as layoffs and layoffs keep happening. So, at the same time, if you just want to be a company person, then shoot for the legacy, early on, rather than trying your luck at, some random digital media company that sprouts up Elite Daily or, Mike or whatever the hot one of the day is, Quartz, and thinking like, oh, this is going to do well. Here we go. We're gonna change the world. Most likely the company is way over leveraged on social platforms and dependent on signing big deals behind the doors that you don't see to get Facebook Watch contracts for big money. If they don't get those Facebook Watch contracts, then the money dries up, and then the venture capital money dries up, and everybody loses their job. Anyway, that's just a thought for this morning. A little insight into the media world. Have a good one, guys.